I hope you're all doing great out there. And today, March the 21st, 2021, I wanted to bring you all another video talking about the Derek Brunson and Kevin Holland fight that went down yesterday, pretty much, right? The 20th. And how I was actually right when I called out that Derek Brunson would win. So I wanted to go ahead and have a little discussion about this and um, you know, talk about the next event and what's also next for each of these fighters. So, with that being said, let me go ahead and jump right into it. There were some spectacular finishes on that entire fight card, especially with what's that guy's face? That one fighter that knocked the other guy out when there was only 1 second left. And here we go. I have his name pulled up. And so it was Grant Dawson that knocked out Leonardo Santos with just 1 second left with those hammer fists he was throwing as his leg was strangled, right? So if you guys were watching, then you would know that, that's something that never usually happens. But the fact that it did, proves that anything can happen in this sport. And when I say anything can happen in this sport, that's exactly what I mean. Realistically, whenever I was watching it, I thought that Grant Dawson was actually down. Um, but when the fight was over, they said that the judges actually had a 2-1 in his favor. So I mean, good for him, but I thought he was gonna lose the fight. So, the fact that he got those hammer fists, onto Leonardo Santos and knocked him out with his mouthpiece flying out of his mouth, was just absolutely spectacular to see, especially in the last few seconds of the fight. So, that was really cool. And then, the Trevin Giles and Roman Dolidze fight, I thought actually that one was a robbery. I thought Dolidze won that fight, even though I wanted Giles to win. But I like to keep it honest and truthful and not bias of any sort of way. And yeah, guys, the first fight between Bruno Silva and JP Buys was also really good too. So if you guys watched that as well, then you know that that was a bit of a scrap too. Because yeah, I mean JP Buys was bringing it on, and Bruno Silva was, putting on a show of himself too. So, all in all, it was a pretty exciting card yesterday. But let's go ahead and jump right into the main event. Derek Brunson and Kevin Holland. The last UFC video I made, talking about which fighter I think is gonna win. I went ahead and said that between these two, I thought that Derek Brunson was a bad matchup for Kevin Holland, and I thought that Kevin Holland, was gonna, get some real competition and have a difficult time, because I thought that Brunson was just a bad matchup for Kevin Holland, and I say that stylistically because Derek Brunson is very comfortable on being on the ground, while Kevin Holland certainly wasn't, and the fight yesterday proved that. So yeah. Derek Brunson is right now on a 4 or 5 fight win streak, and he's certainly gotten a lot better, but he does have to continue to work on his cardio. So now it looks like he wants somebody in the top five weight division, and I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the UFC rankings, because I thought that Brunson should be fighting someone, that's ahead of his ranks, considering he's also been in the sport for a while. But let me go ahead and see who's ahead of him. And that would be either Marvin Vittori or Jack Hermanson, but he obviously went ahead and called out Paulo Costa. So I mean, I'm not necessarily sure if he'll get the Paulo Costa fight, because I think Paulo Costa is gonna fight somebody different, but Derek Brunson can possibly fight Jack Hermanson next, and that would be a bad matchup, I think, for Derek Brunson actually. So I think I would have Jack Hermanson winning that fight. But yeah, between again Kevin Holland and Derek Brunson, I thought that Kevin Holland had him in trouble in the second round. I mean, he literally knocked him out. He was literally a punch or two away from finishing it. But then Derek Brunson was able to grab a hold of Kevin Holland's, foot and, barely, survive because that guy was going to sleep. Even though he didn't really, recognize it right after the fight with his talk with, what's his face, Paul Felder. But yeah, he said that he was okay and he wasn't really hurt, but man, believe me, he was about to go to sleep. So, yeah, Derek Brunson was absolutely in trouble on the second round, but Kevin Holland had to find a way to keep that fight standing up because had that fight kept on standing up, I felt like Kevin Holland could have even knocked him out in that fifth round. Especially because every time Kevin Holland connected on Derek Brunson, Derek Brunson, was getting hurt really badly, and it was as if though he wouldn't be able to take too many of those shots, and it's exactly why Derek Brunson literally got him to the ground every single time he was able to. So, Derek pretty much played his own game, and he played his game correctly because, had the fight kept been on the feet, then I believe that Derek Brunson would have, lost that fight, and he knows that he knew that too. So, um, good for Derek Brunson, to be able to figure that out and get the victory for him. I thought that he would win. I thought that he was skillful and experienced enough to be able to do just that. And Kevin Holland on the other side, was literally talking throughout the entirety of the fight. To Khabib, which who was sitting ringside by Dana White too. And I mean, Dana White, I think, said it best. I think Kevin Holland had a mental breakdown. I don't think he was able to, admit the fact that he was losing the fight and that he was on the ground, and out of frustration and on comfort, he was just continuing to talk, and the reporter said it best that he's gonna feel that loss the next day. So he's probably already thinking about uh what in the world he was doing yesterday, because he wasn't really putting in any effort to get back up to his feet. I mean, he just had Derek Brunson on top of him. But I mean, I watched the entirety of the fight and I didn't really see any real effort from Kevin Holland to try to get back up to his feet. And it was almost as though every time he got taken down, it was like, okay, let's wait for the next round. I'll try to knock out in the next round, and he would go for it. And Kevin Holland, is a knockout artist. The guy's got most of his wins by knockout, and he does it in spectacular fashion too. But against a Derek Brunson, an experienced Derek Brunson like that, that's been in the game for a while, especially putting on that show against Edmund Shabazian. He had to come in a little bit more prepared because I personally knew that Derek Brunson was going to bring it, and I personally also knew that Kevin Holland wasn't necessarily going to be ready for the fight that Derek Brunson was going to bring, and I knew that Kevin Holland, was going to be against his toughest match yet. So realistically, I said that Derek Brunson was gonna win, because of all of those factors, and also because I felt like Kevin Holland's mind was just completely in a different realm, after the weigh-ins and all that, with him just acting very childish and immaturely, in my opinion. Even though he's funny, but I think he's still immature, and definitely has a lot of room to grow, especially in the mixed martial arts world. You know, but yeah, I think next time, I think they're gonna have to tell him not to talk anymore, and I think he's gonna take it seriously. So, we'll see how Kevin Holland comes out next time around. But I mean, he was fighting, um, a ranked 7 Derek Brunson when he was ranked 10. So, and I think a good fight for Kevin Holland would be Kelvin Gastelum, but or Uriah Hall. I think he has a good chance of beating either of those two opponents. But I think Kelvin Gastelum, does have a bit of ground game and wrestling, but I think his main is still the stand up. And I think Kevin Holland can do well against Kelvin Gastelum, and then a fight between Uriah Hall and Kevin Holland. I think Kevin Holland will win that one easy. So we'll see who Kevin Holland is going to fight next. But up until then, let's see who Derek Brunson will fight next. Because he's ranked 7 right now. So Marvin Vittori right now has a fight coming up. I'm not exactly sure who it's against, but let me go ahead and quickly find out. But yeah, I think yeah, he's gonna be fighting Darren Till because it looks like Marvin Vittori has been beginning to make a name for himself, and he's only 27 years old from Italy, so he's my age actually. So now you guys know how old I am, but yeah, let's see who will win between that fight between Darren Till and Marvin Vittori because that's gonna be a show, and I think Jack Hermanson is coming off a loss, so we'll see if Derek Brunson, will fight Jack Hermanson, but he's asking for somebody in the top 5, and I think a call out against Paulo Costa is a very wrong idea, in my opinion, for Derek Brunson because I believe that Paulo Costa's style is a bad matchup for Derek Brunson, and I think Derek Brunson would get a knockdown in that fight. Because he's not gonna be able to take down Paulo Costa like he did with Kevin Gastelum. With Kevin Gastelum, with Kevin Holland. So, I personally think Brunson is probably gonna wait a little bit and see who's gonna be available. But I'm not exactly sure if they'll give Paulo Costa to Brunson. I don't think that fight will actually happen. But for now, I think going by the rankings, I think Derek Brunson is probably gonna fight the winner of Marvin Vittori and Darren Till. So I think that's what's gonna happen next. And then the loser of that fight will fight Jack Hermanson. So that's how I see the middleweight division playing out as of right now for those fighters. So I just want to go ahead and also talk about this next upcoming UFC event that's gonna be Saturday. UFC 260 guys, Stipe and Francis Ngannou. I'm not gonna go ahead and say who's gonna win because I'm gonna save that for another video. But I want to say that I'm very happy to see these two guys run it back. I believe Stipe winning this fight will put the stamp on it. And we would all be able to conclude that Stipe's the better fighter. And if Francis wins, then we would be able to turn around and say, hey, Francis Ngannou, has been able to make the changes, and a third fight between these two is absolutely necessary. So, we'll see what happens upcoming Saturday, but this event is gonna be March 27th. Main card starting at 7 p.m. and then the earliest prelims starting at 3 p.m. So from 3 all the way until 7 p.m. starting as well. We're gonna be seeing fights for UFC. So I can't wait. There's gonna be some amazing names that are gonna be fighting. There's gonna be Tyrone Woodley fighting as the co-main event against Vincente Luque, and I think that one is gonna be a good fight. I think this is make or break for Tyron Woodley because I feel like if Tyron Woodley loses this fight, I think he will be cut from the UFC considering he's now lost like what 15 rounds in a row or something. So he's lost his last 3 fights, and he's lost each and every single one of those rounds. So it's not looking good for Tyrone. He's got some pressure, and he's really got to win this next fight. If he is to stay in the UFC and continue to perform. And then the third fight in the main card, we got Sean O'Malley fighting. He's always very exciting to watch to fight. And he's always someone that can always put on the show. That last fight of his, we saw his foot get twirled up, and he just got a really bad injury. So we'll see how Sean O'Malley's gonna be bringing it this time around, and this guy is always really fun to watch, and he's only 26 years old, so um you know uh, Marlon Vera was able to, get that TKO, but I don't think, Marlon Vera, won because, he was able to knock him out, even though it obviously was, but I think more so the reason for that, was because, we saw that really nasty injury that, uh, you know, Mally got himself into, so, um, you know, let's see if his foot is gonna be all right this time around. But many more fights. This upcoming weekend, guys. So be sure to tune into them, and I'm gonna be making a video as to who I believe is gonna be winning between Stipe and Francis. But yeah, guys. There's a lot of fights on this card that are gonna be awesome. So I would tell you guys, to be free on that day and to tune in and watch because it's always exciting, especially when you know the fighters. But with all that said, guys, yeah, Brunson got that win, and we'll see what happens this upcoming weekend. And I'm probably gonna be making another crypto video soon enough, so stay tuned for that as well. But up until later on, guys, I'll catch you guys later, and be sure to subscribe, like, and comment, and let me know as to who you guys had winning during the Brunson and Holland fight, and who you guys think is going to be winning this upcoming weekend between Francis and Stipe. So be good out there, guys. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.